Celtics news to report. Celtics have acquired guard Jrue Holiday, a great two-way player, great defensive player.
Marcus Smart's a very good player, a versatile player, a good passer. He's not a point guard, or is Derrick White. The Celtics now have a point guard. This was something Jrue Holiday wanted.
You guys, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know where to begin with what's been happening in the NBA world over these last couple of days. And yes, while rightfully so, this side of the equation, when you look at it, definitely took over most of the headlines over this given time span. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am just as interested looking at the rippling after effects of this. And don't get me wrong, because when looking at the entire Boston Celtics situation as a whole, and them really going through more change in one offseason than we've seen from them in years on end, there's definitely a lot of uncertainty in terms of what we're going to see on the court from these guys. But on the other hand, there's also a lot more possibilities with this team than I think most people are even realizing. But before we get into that, today's video is brought to you by our friends at Factor. Now, I don't know about you guys, but with football back, basketball right around the corner, and not to mention everything else that I typically do in a day, finding both quick and nutritious meals that fit my lifestyle, well, it was one of my biggest issues, but that's until I got my hands on Factor. Because with their fresh, never frozen meals delivered directly to your door, I get chef-made, dietitian-approved meals that arrive prepped and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. And when that takes a sink full of dishes out of the equation, that's worth it to me in itself. And with Factor's weekly updated menus that include over 27 meal options and a plethora of add-ons to choose from, such as proteins, juices, smoothies, etc., they have choices for just about anyone. And if you guys go to factor75.com or click the link below and use code HoopsDigest50, you will receive 50% off your first Factor box. Once again, that is code HoopsDigest50 at factor75.com, and thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so let's get back on topic with the Boston Celtics, because, well, I mean, from some of the shocking moves that this team had made earlier in this offseason that I don't think anyone on the face of the earth could have possibly expected to see, to somehow one-upping the level of absurdity with what they just pulled off a week prior to the beginning of training camp. Like, obviously, it's no secret at this point, this is going to be a Boston Celtics team unlike anything we have seen in years past. And I mean, I'll just keep it simple, the skill set of this guy is going to be the biggest reason why. Now, whenever I see people get into a conversation about Jrue Holiday as a player in this league, there is a lot of different ways in which that conversation can go. I mean, on one side of the equation, he's undeniably one of, if not the best two-way guards in all of basketball. He's been consistently efficient on the offensive side of the ball within his days in Milwaukee over the last couple of years as well. But as we have seen with him, some of the very high highs also come with some very low lows from time to time. In fact, his 2023 playoff performance, both on the offensive and even the defensive side of the ball, are the most recent examples of this. But regardless of that, if there's one crucial aspect to this trade that I'm seeing many people essentially ignore when looking at this, is that the parameters of the situation that he's now being thrown into with Boston are a lot different than what he was being asked to do in Milwaukee in the past. And even the film will show you it's probably going to be a better situation for him. For example, I think it's safe to say that when looking at the play of the Boston Celtics in years past, they seem to play positionless basketball to a higher degree, really more than any other team in the league. And I say that because when looking into the manner of how this team moves the ball, and more specifically who usually facilitates the offense, I mean, their numbers from 2023 will be more than enough to tell you this, but there's never really a guy in this offense that is solely restricted to that given facilitator role. And guys, I mean, if you were to handpick anyone across the league that you want managing an offense exactly like this, Jrue Holiday is the guy to do it. For starters, just when you try to compare Jrue Holiday to Marcus Smart side by side, while they both aren't exactly the essence of a traditional point guard in today's game, it's safe to say that Jrue Holiday is much closer to the definition of that within this offense. And even while the numbers in terms of his playmaking abilities will show you this, the main point is he's not going to be asked to fulfill the same role that he's been used to. Because whether it's Jrue Holiday or Derrick White running the show from the backcourt, or even maybe JT or JB taking it up the floor from a front court position, Jrue Holiday is a drastically improved addition to the top of this rotation in terms of what Boston's game plan always is. Space the floor to constantly create opportunities for wide open looks from the perimeter, which again, when you look at the numbers, is something that Boston really hasn't had an issue with in the past, while also creating and capitalizing on given opportunities for constant cutting and attacking the rim. And well, if you thought that Jrue was efficient at picking apart defenses in both of these regards in the past, if you think he's not going to thrive even further doing so in arguably one of the most free-flowing offenses in all of basketball, I mean, I'll just say this, you're probably going to be surprised. But then, if you even wanted to go to another area of Jrue Holiday's game, where a lot of people have also had concerns in the past, it's undoubtedly been in his isolation and even shot creation efficiency. Because, well, the numbers, yeah, they're not the best, but once again, this is no longer needed from him. And I mean, sure, while we definitely will continue to see isolation play in this offense from maybe the top two guys in Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, sometimes even Derrick White, and I'm sure we'll occasionally see it from Jrue Holiday as well. But the thing about that now is that he's not going to be forced into those ISO possessions due to stagnant offense like he has in the past. Because here, I mean, sometimes he's going to be the third, maybe even the fourth or the fifth option that's asked to create that offense, and it's really only going to be in situations where he's exploiting a worse defender. And honestly, with him being able to take the back seat to so many other high-powered offensive weapons, his already high-level shooting efficiency is really only expected to improve. But what about when you add the new contributions of Jrue Holiday to what this guy is also going to bring to the table for this team? Because, well, do you guys remember how this team loves to space the floor, find wide open perimeter looks, and attack the interior every chance that they have? Well, literally everything that we just said is exactly what Kristaps Porzingis is. Because, I mean, we can see it through the film here, he's clearly a very effective scorer at all three levels of the court. And with the current projected starting five that Boston is looking to use going into this season, I mean, the numbers will tell you right alongside the common sense that there isn't a single guy that you can leave on the perimeter, not even one. And whether defenses are looking to eliminate the perimeter or even the interior opportunities that this team wants to create, it's pretty clear that because of the personnel that they're going to be running, defenses are going to have to play a pretty tough game of pick your poison. But speaking of defense, and how many people out there are assuming that the Celtics have taken a pretty substantial step back in this regard with the moves that they have made, I'm just not so sure if that's the case. Because with statistically speaking, the best backcourt duo in this regard, a formidable frontcourt pairing with both of the Jays, and even a very underrated rim protector in Kristaps Porzingis manning the middle, time is only going to tell if they can retain the prestigious ranking that they had last season, but I'm also extremely curious to hear what you guys have to think. So be sure to let me know in the comments, what are you most anxious to see with this new look Celtics team as we head into the new season? And if you had to, give me a prediction for what their record will be heading into the 2024 playoffs. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all more than anything, and I will see you guys in the next video.